Duke Eclipse presents the Horror Hideout Podcast, a podcast covering everything horror, including books, comics, and movies. Presented by Dawson Duke and Kayla Bullock.
Welcome to Horror
Hideout. So today we're covering the movie Geostorm from
2017.
Okay. And it takes place in the far future of 2019.
And I want to throw this out there. Last week we talked about Day After Tomorrow. And I'm just going to say we had a discussion on whether we thought that was the best, weather-related horror-ish movie. Yeah, I kind of think it is.
Yeah.
Compared to what we've watched, we're going to go with yes, it is.
So if you know any good ones that you think are better or equivalent to Day After Tomorrow, let us know, because we'd love to see some that are, but just the ones we have chosen to watch are not.
Yeah, I had really high hopes for Geostorm, and it was not what I expected.
So, the movie technically starts in 2019, where she's doing the narration.
2019?
Yes.
Okay.
And so we hear like a young girl doing a narration, and later on we find out it's a 13-year-old girl named Hannah. But right now we don't know that. It's spoiled for me because it's in the subtitles. It says Hannah.
Oh.
But which, I mean, it's not really a spoiler.
So she was 9 at the time, right? Because doesn't the movie take place 4 years later?
3, I thought.
Okay, so she was 9 or 10.
Yeah. So, but she's talking, when she's telling the story at the beginning, she's talking about it in the past tense. So I think she's still the same age.
Okay.
So, that's not super important though. But they talk about how they lost entire cities, and the world came together, aka 17 countries, which does not sound like a whole bunch.
Yeah, how many countries are there?
A bunch. Like, especially in, like, Europe and, like, Africa, there's, like, a bunch.
If you hear slurping, ignore the dog.
Okay. So, we find out that they found out a way to neutralize storms through the Dutch Boy satellite system.
Yes.
Which she says has a technical name, but we never hear what the technical name is.
I think they say it, I don't know if she says it, but somewhere at the very
She does it because she says it has a complicated name, and so they just call it Dutch Boy.
I'm pretty sure they say it.
They might at, like,
the
the Senate
beginning.
hearing. Yeah. So anyway, we actually start our story, and it's in Washington, D.C., and again, it's still 2019.
So basically what Dawson just said is basically the spoiler-free review. We've got this kind of
Yes.
net-looking thing around the world that is...
They call it the net, don't they?
I think so.
Or the web?
And
I think it's the net.
Maybe it is.
No, it's definitely the net.
So basically what this thing does is control the weather.
Yeah. So they were having... she specifically says hurricanes, floods, and droughts.
Yeah.
So they made a device that could control the weather and prevent extreme weather conditions, essentially.
They didn't. Jake Lawson did.
Well, it was a team that Jake Lawson led.
That's true.
So anyway, yes, that's spoiler-free. So we're going to get into spoiler territory now. So it's still 2019. We're in Washington, D.C., and Jake Lawson, who I put in parentheses, creator of Dutch Boy,
Who is played by Gerard Butler.
Yes.
And I love Gerard Butler.
But he does not do a good job in this movie.
I did not like him in this movie. There was just no emotion.
And I wonder if he knew that this wasn't... I don't know how much the budget was, but I wonder if he knew this wasn't, a big movie and he just didn't,
I don't know, but... Or maybe
he didn't put his heart into it.
He's so emotional in Phantom of the Opera as the Phantom that I just can't... But he was also in Olympus Has Fallen, and he did a good job in that.
I agree.
So
he's in a Senate hearing, but he arrives an hour late, and he makes a snarky remark about, I had to come all the way from space.
Yeah.
And he's not a very charismatic guy.
Yeah, and I don't want to interrupt you again, but I'm going to. We didn't mention that...
Not Gerard Butler, the actor, Jake Lawson, the character.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The Dutch Boy is ran from the International Space Station.
Yes.
So, that's why he made that comment about having to come.
In real life, is it 17 countries that came together to do the International Space Station?
I have no idea.
I don't either, so I wonder if that's where the 17 countries are from, or why.
I don't know, but I do know that the International Space Station is nothing like what it is in this movie.
Yeah. So, the head senator, is that...
That's probably the...
Speaker of the...
That's the Speaker of the House. I don't know what... I can't remember. Senate majority leader.
Okay, yeah. So they kind of get back and forth in like a snarky match.
Yeah. But he
And
keeps getting text messages from a guy that's sitting up there with the Senate too, like
yeah,
stop, don't do this.
And you see the guy's name is Max on the phone.
Yeah.
But which I think is funny because it's like they're in this serious meeting and he's telling him to stop, but the way he's telling him to stop is he does use some real words, but he's sending stop sign emojis.
Yeah.
So the senator, like the head or whatever, the senator that is speaking, says "we" in reference to the creation of the Dutch boy, and because he's arguing the United States should keep control of it. And so then Jake kind of freaks out on him and is like, "Where's the we here? I didn't see you up there with the team of people from 17 countries up there."
I thought Senate was arguing the other way, that it should be open to the world. Because that's the whole thing, is in 2 weeks the president's turning it over to the...
They already made the agreement that in 3 years it's going to be turned over, but the Senate was arguing because he won't follow directions and he didn't follow protocol and he didn't go through the right channels to make all the decisions he did. And like they turned the Dutch boy online without asking for permission.
So
he's saying like it should have gone through the US system before they turned it on.
So this is 5 partner space agency: US, Russia, Europe, Japan, and Canada. But then there are 11 other countries considered members. So the total International Space Station is 15 nations.
Well, in this movie they say 17, and they say the 2 big ones are China and the US. So I wonder if it's just...
Yeah, see, China's not even on this list.
I thought you said China.
Did I? No.
You said Russia.
US, Russia, Europe, Japan, and Canada.
Oh, I think Japan. I thought you said China. But yeah, in this they say... So maybe China joined in one other country.
Okay. I want to run through this really quick before we get more into the story. So we've got Gerard Butler's character, Jake.
Yes.
Max is played by Jim Sturgis. Abby, who is... I don't remember. Oh, Abby is Max's girlfriend. Yes. And she's a Secret Service agent. She's played by Sarah Wilson. The main astronaut, I don't know what her title is. The main astronaut.
Head scientist. She's a head scientist on the
ISS.
Yes.
Is Alexandra Maria Laura, and she plays Ute Fassbender,
who's German.
And then we've got some other. And then Ed Harris plays I don't know what. I couldn't figure out what he was.
Who?
Ed Harris.
I don't know who that is. I think he's supposed to be like... He is somehow involved with the president. I don't know if he's like...
is he vice president?
I don't know if they ever say that anywhere, but that's kind of the implication I got.
Well, no, because the vice president's speaking later on.
I don't know.
He's somewhere in that chain of command. And then president...
So he might be like the head of something.
Yeah. So then President Andrew Palma is played by Andy Garcia. I just want to throw those out there. And that's our main characters.
So yeah, I wrote down here, Jake Lawson has a problem with authority. He doesn't like people being in charge of him. He wants to be in charge. And
he doesn't seem to like people taking credit for his work either.
No. And he also doesn't like that the United States is trying to take over the system that was made by an international team.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what they're talking about in Senate, is like, well, you're an American and you led the team.
Yeah.
So it leads to the Senate guy ends up like what is it called, adjourning?
Yeah.
Adjourning the meeting, so they all head out. So Max starts talking to Jake and he's like, I hope you know they put me in charge of Dutch Boy now. I'm in charge of it. And he fires Jake.
Right.
And so then we have a time skip to 3 years later, so this would be 2022.
So I want to throw a couple things out there, just, me and my little factoid things. So Jerry Bruckheimer was brought in to produce this at a very late stage. The studio rejected the original cut of the movie due to poor reactions. Extensive reshoots
with new material
was shot over 2 weeks for $15 million. And then some cast and crew, even extras, noted that Gerard Butler did not appear to know his lines.
I
Which
do
goes
not
back
think.
to
Yeah, I don't. I just do not think he cared about this movie at all. Like, do you remember when we talked about the menu? He talks about the the actor he brought there. He's like, I brought you here because I didn't like that movie you were in because it just seemed like you were phoning it in. This feels like that movie for Gerard
Very
Butler.
much so.
So it's 3 years later, and we see Afghanistan, and we see some like military jeeps that we later find out are full of UN soldiers. And so they're like driving through the desert, and they come to this town that's just completely covered in snow, and like people are like frozen in place. Like it's like in The Day After Tomorrow, whenever New York freezes over and everyone just gets frozen. It's like that.
But they get out of the thing and it's like super hot. Like
Yeah.
when they first get out, like they're sweating, and they even make a comment about being hot. So,
And then they walk into an area that's like snowing.
yeah. So back to what we were talking about to begin with. This says that Deacon is the Secretary of State.
Okay. I don't know if they ever said that in there. But...
I don't know, but that's what this says.
Okay.
So
after this happened, we meet Max's girlfriend. What was her name?
Did you mention that Max was Jake's brother?
Yes.
Did you say that? Okay.
And I don't know if he was on... He becomes a senator. He is a senator by the time of the 3-year time skip. Because they call him Senator Lawson.
Abby is his girlfriend.
Okay. And what's her last name? Because she goes by Agent...
Cornish.
Is that right?
No. Sorry, that's the actress. Her name is Sarah Wilson.
In the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because I was going to say, I thought she went by Agent Wilson for part of the movie. But, yeah, so we find out that Max has the girlfriend here, and I don't think we learn it here, but she's part of the Secret Service.
It's kind of implied because of the conversation they have. But
we know she works in, like, whatever place she's at, like, in Washington, D.C., as some kind of security, but I don't think we really know she is Secret Service yet. So then we get a security briefing with the president where they tell him about what happened in Afghanistan and how the UN soldiers found the town. And
I have to say that was a pretty cool scene in the desert.
I agree.
One of the guys walks up and touches one of the frozen people's hands, and his whole hand comes off.
Yeah. And I think these scenes are the best parts of this movie.
I do too.
Because there's another scene later I want to talk about that's like my favorite scene. My favorite scene in the whole movie.
Yeah.
So they figure out that the Dutch boy must be malfunctioning or something. I don't know if they know it caused it yet, but they know it has something to do with the Dutch boy.
Yeah, because Dutch boy's supposed to be in control of all weather,
Yeah.
and so there shouldn't have been.
And so 300 people died in that town.
Yeah.
And Max mentions that because he gets kind of mad because they're kind of, oh, well, this is going to look bad politically and all this stuff. And Max is like, you realize people are dead because of this.
Yeah.
So, and they're 2 weeks away from the U.S. handing over the Dutch boy to, like, an international group. And the president doesn't want to be the president that hands over a faulty system.
Right.
I think is what he says, or malfunctioning system or something like that. But, they're going to send up one man to fix it, and it's the Secretary of State. What's his name? Deckham. It's Deckham's idea to send Jake up.
Yeah.
So Max does not want it to be Jake at all.
No.
But the senator argues, like, or the secretary argues, he's like, I trusted you, you gotta trust my judgment here. And so...
He's just a jerk. The Ed Harris character. He's just a jerk.
Is that Deckham?
Yeah.
Yeah. What else is he in? Like, what would I know him from?
Oh gosh, he's been in a lot of stuff.
Well, because he looked really familiar, but I couldn't place what I know him from, but I feel like he was, like...
You had to ask me, and I can't tell you off the top of my head now.
Well, I'll keep talking while you look. So, after this, we kind of cut to the ISS, and they have recalled and are disassembling the Afghan satellite to see if anything's on it. And we see one guy kind of take something off of it and put it in a locker, and then as he's walking through the space station, doors close around him and the wall panels fail, like, and he gets sucked out into space and dies.
And so when they bring in
Satellite.
the broken satellite, they automatically send another one out to
Yes.
replace it, which
Yeah.
I think is a cool idea to have
Yeah.
a backup like that.
And they manufacture them on the ISS. Like they have a whole manufacturing division on the ISS that we see later.
He was in Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
He was in Geostorm.
Well, yeah. So, next place we're at is in Florida, and we kind of hop around. But next place we're at is in Florida, and here's where we meet Hannah.
He was in National Treasure Book of Secrets.
Yeah,
He's
that
the
makes
bad guy
sense.
in the
Yeah.
second one.
That's what I know him from. And I told you that there's a scene in this that reminds me of National Treasure, and we'll get to it.
You're talking about the scene skipping around. We talked about that with Day After Tomorrow too, but I feel like
Day After Tomorrow was so well balanced.
It went so like it flowed so smoothly,
Yeah.
and I don't feel like this one got that.
In this one, even though it felt like there was filler, and I couldn't tell you exactly what it was, but this movie was just kind of boring.
Well, and that's what I told you this before we started recording. Like I wanted more like Day After Tomorrow with the weather events and all of that. Like how I'm not a huge space person, movie person, you know that, and so I didn't. A lot of times when we pick movies I've not seen, I don't look them up because I don't want to know anything about them, and so I was kind of. There were parts in this when I was bored. So.
Well, and your husband had mentioned that a lot of the space stuff felt derivative of Armageddon.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen, and you said you hadn't seen for a long time.
It's been a long time.
So, maybe there's also stuff to that, but as you'll go through this movie, you'll see that it feels like they stole ideas from, like, they're like, oh, well, this worked in this movie, and this worked in this movie, and they mashed it together and just did not know what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like, they tried to replicate someone else's success and just failed.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of a cool concept, but I just have, which we'll talk about as we go through, but I just had so many issues with this movie.
And I even though it is its own concept, it still feels very, very derivative, even in like the framing stuff of Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're in Florida, and we meet Hannah, who's Jake's daughter, and she's working on fixing a solar panel. And here's where we find out she's 13.
Yeah.
Because Max says, aren't you supposed to be 10 years old? And she said, well, I'm 13 now, or something like that. And she's... One issue I have, there's this trend in newer movies where there's always got to be a kid that does not talk like a kid that's super smart and witty, and it bothers me. And there's so many movies that do this, and they're usually also like some kind of genius. And she's that kind of character in this movie. Like the way she talks is not how any kid would actually talk.
Right. Now the being intelligent about stuff like her fixing that satellite, the solar panel, I would give her that because of who her dad is and what he's done.
I know. I wasn't saying that was bad. I'm saying that usually goes hand in hand with the snarky kid that doesn't talk like an actual kid. And it's a lot of the. This is like way not horror at all. But, you know the Home Alone movies?
Yeah.
The later Home Alone movies, like the ones that don't have, like, Kevin McAllister in them, like the original actor. What's his name?
Oh, excuse me, Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah. The kids in it are just, like, so snarky, and they're, like, super geniuses, and it's not fun. Because even though, like, Kevin was, like, innovative and stuff, he still felt like a kid. But when they're talking like that, it just feels like it's an adult in a kid's body. Yeah. And it doesn't feel realistic.
I thought it was funny. This has nothing to do with the movie we're watching, but I thought it was funny that I saw a video on Facebook the other day of Macaulay Culkin, and he is married to a girl that she was a Disney Channel star. I can't remember who she was, but anyway, they have a couple kids, and he says every time they watch Home Alone, his kid gets up at the Michael Jordan part where he's doing the party thing, and his kid gets up and starts dancing like Kevin is, and so he makes him get up. But they don't realize, like, he makes his dad get up and dance with him, but doesn't realize that it's his dad in the movie.
Yeah, that's great.
I said they were one time, again, nothing to do with what we're talking about, but
I started going off topic, so.
They were saying that he they were watching something on Disney Channel, and the mom was on there, and he turned around, the kid son turned around and looked at the mom, and he's like, "You're as pretty as she is," and it was really just when she was younger.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, like we said, she's fixing the solar panel. So we kind of get a scene there where, um, it's just kind of we find out that like since the 3 year time skip, Max and Jake have like not seen each other at all.
Yeah.
And I don't think we really learn much else here before we go to Hong Kong, do we?
Don't we?
Because I feel like we cut Hong Kong here and then we cut back to them and we learn
Maybe.
stuff. So this is the scene I was talking about earlier that I think is probably my favorite scene in the whole movie. We start out and there's this guy that's like, his name is Chang, right? Or is that how you would say it? Chang? Because it's an E.
I think it's Chang.
Okay. And so he's at like a convenience store of some kind, and he's like getting some food, and he's like sweating really bad, and this cat keeps jumping in the fridge, and he keeps pulling it out. And then he gets in his car as like the concrete around him is like starting to like catch on fire essentially and like crack. And then a pipe bursts up out of the ground, so he starts driving, and all these gas lines are exploding, and the buildings are falling down, and he's like barely staying ahead of it. And that's like the coolest scene in the whole movie, in my opinion.
But, and maybe I don't know. So after we got done watching it, I told Aaron, I'm like, I usually don't analyze movies like this, but we're doing it for the podcast, because I don't, like, when we sit down to watch a movie, I don't ask questions or anything, but like sometimes I will when we're doing one for the podcast, just so I can be like, I remember it better if I ask him. So if Dutch Boy failed, why would it cause gas lines to bust?
I think it was just that hot.
Does that happen? Is that possible?
I mean, gas is explosive.
Well, I know that, but...
And it wasn't that Dutch Boy was failing. Dutch Boy was actively causing this stuff.
Okay, but later on we see when it's set in, I want to say it's an Indian city, maybe, on fire.
Moscow?
Where it's just like the laser
Moscow.
beam. Was that Moscow?
Where it's like melting.
Yeah.
The snow's melting. That's Moscow.
Yeah. Okay, so that is a direct beam. I get that, but like, I don't know.
The thing
the whole
is,
movie didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'm not scientifically like.
There may have been a direct beam in Hong Kong too. You just didn't see it because it's just heat waves.
Gotcha.
Like, the reason you would see it in Moscow is so that you can visualize what's happening. Like, I don't know if in real life you would actually see any difference. It would just, it'd just be hot air.
So you don't think, so you're saying that you don't think there was an actual beam, like, they just did that to, I know, it's a movie.
I'm sure there was some kind of beam of heat coming down, but I'm saying I don't think you would have visually seen it.
Gotcha.
In real life. And I don't know for sure, but like, if you look in the oven when something's cooking, you don't see the heat waves moving through.
Oh, that's true. Okay, well that was, whatever. Again, I'm not whatever.
And I don't know, I'm not a scientist, I don't study heat or anything like that, so it may be completely unrealistic. I'm defending this movie just because I think this scene in particular is really good, so I have my own issues with this movie. But I don't know. I don't know how it actually works, but...
I mean, this was a cool scene.
And like, in all reality, with him driving like that, his tires would have melted before pipes ever exploded.
Well, and I just don't... I don't know. I just have so many questions. Like... So, if you give me a movie like... And here we go off topic again. But if you give me a movie like Back to the Future that is scientifically... air quotes, scientifically based... And it's a good enough movie... I'm not... And
you can suspend your disbelief.
I don't like time travel very often. Now, Back to the Future, that's an exception. But... I can suspend my disbelief if it's good enough and they make it make sense. But to me, this whole thing did not make sense.
It's the same thing, because I kind of picked on Day After Tomorrow with, like, how unrealistic, like, the ice moving in and stuff is. It would not be like that in real life. Like, it would not be that quick. But that movie is so cool that you don't care in the moment.
Yeah.
And I do think you're right. This movie doesn't really earn that.
It doesn't. And I just... It's so weird to me that you have this... Okay, so what I'm picturing is you got a soccer ball, and then you've got just like a soccer ball net around this thing,
Yeah.
right? Well, if you only have these satellites pointed at certain areas, like for example, okay, the Moscow one. Okay, let's not use the Moscow one because that's a big city. Okay, the one in the middle of the desert where 300 people
Yeah.
froze to death. Why was it so concentrated in that area? If it takes only 17 of these things around the world to cover the whole world.
There's not just 17.
Oh.
Later on, they even say, because the guy's talking about that specific model type that went wrong, that was like a SR-22 or whatever, and they make it sound like there's more than one model type out there. And the one they talk about, he says there's like 1,270 of them or something.
Okay, gotcha. I must have missed that.
No, there's like a ton of them.
Okay, gotcha.
And so the other thing about it being so focused is it's also like it's a virus that he created that's doing it.
Right.
So it's actively causing it. So he probably just made it where it is just focusing in on those single places. Because he even later in the movie says like he wasn't targeting an area that.
Well, he basically is saying we're targeting people that would be a threat to us.
Yeah.
But how was the 300 people? Which I don't know what the organization in the desert, like the city in the desert, was. And again, I'm taking way too far into this movie.
But this is also explained later in the movie. The reason he's doing it in the order he's doing it is because it's based off of one of Chang's prediction of how it would go. So he's trying to make it just seem like a malfunction.
Gotcha.
That was what with the whole Chang thing, why they killed him, and then afterwards what they were talking about.
Gotcha.
So, anyway, back where we're at. So,
sorry guys, we are rambling tonight, but that's okay.
Also, the Chang in Hong Kong is driving like a little Kia or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny because I was just playing GTA the other day and I was running from the police and I was using one of those because it's really good for like getting through gaps and stuff. So the whole time I was watching this, I was just thinking about that. So we're back to like the Jake and Hannah and Max in Texas.
Yes.
Or, I mean, Florida, yeah. And Jake is like packing up his stuff because he's agreed to go back to the ISS.
But we also see he comes out when Hannah's talking to Max and he tells her, he's like, I thought I taught you not to talk to strangers.
Yeah.
And so they kind of go back and forth, and the one condition is he will go back as long as Max is not his boss.
Yeah. He wants to answer to someone else.
Yeah.
Anyone else but Max.
Yeah.
So.
Which, I don't know if we mentioned this, but Max is the younger brother.
Yes. Which, I feel like the dialogue that introduced that was a little clunky. Because he walks out of the Senate things and goes, little brother, and then starts talking.
Yeah.
And, like, as someone that has siblings, I don't, like...
Sister.
Yeah.
Big sister.
Yeah. Like, I might call him sis.
Big sister and be like, big sis.
Well, yeah, and I might say, like, sis or something. But, like, usually that's not the first thing when I see them.
Right.
Like, anyway, it's again, I've talked about this before, but it's like the thing where, like, some movies, like B movies a lot of times, or, like, movies that don't go through a bunch of drafts of scripts, have, like, very clunky dialogue.
Yeah.
And, like, instead of introducing stuff naturally, it's just, like, kind of shoehorned in to give you the message.
And that's really sad if they're saying that, this was the rework because the first one failed so bad.
Well, and I didn't really notice too much in the actual dialogue that I thought was bad. Just that was one thing I did notice. And another thing I wanted to say about this is, like, again, we're off topic, but when we were talking about the whole like suspension of disbelief stuff, there's a thing I saw, and what this guy was saying is, when you're writing, like, especially like sci-fi stuff or fantasy stuff, you need to answer why twice, and people usually won't ask further than that. So, like, if you're like, well, there's this net around the world, why? Well, it's because the weather's going on. Well, why is the weather so funky? They never say that in the movie, do they?
Yeah,
it just is.
And I think that's my biggest thing with it is, like,
I think they say, it's getting hotter and the polar ice caps are melting, but they don't really give, like, a...
Well, my thing is, okay, so we're controlling the weather to prevent big events, but what does... how far does that go? Like, we
Yeah.
have to have rain.
Yeah. In
I mean, I don't know if we have to have snow, but does it control temperature? Obviously not.
yeah,
Well, I mean, it might
to an
because of
extent,
the.
yeah.
But like, if it can control temperature, then why is the desert 100 and some degrees? Why can't we just make it cooler? You know, what's the limits on what
Yeah.
this can do? And there
Well,
really was never any explanation about
and
exactly what we were.
you know the whole time what I was thinking about when I was watching this movie? Instead of making an espionage movie, why didn't they make it about when they built the thing originally, when they originally built the Dutch Boy? Because this feels like it would be a sequel to a movie where they built the Dutch Boy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't
And
know
that's
why
what
they...
I want to see. Like, I want to
Yeah,
see the
yeah.
disaster.
And the whole time, even literally, I wasn't even starting the movie yet. In the beginning narration, where she's talking about all this stuff, I'm like, this is what I want to see.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see all this happening. And it's just someone narrating all of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jake ends up going to space after he promises Hannah that he'll be back home.
Which is the typical classic, you know.
Yeah. So now you know he's not going to die because he has to go home for her.
Right.
Which, in my opinion, I think the movie would have been better if he had died.
Well, let's get to that at the end.
Okay. Anyway, so he ends up going to space. He meets Oot. Is it Oot or is it Uda? Or, like, how?
I would say oot.
Because I thought it was Oot, but whenever, like, right near the end, whenever Jake is talking to her, he calls her Uta.
I have no idea.
I don't know. And she's German, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I thought she was the one that voiced Colette in Ratatouille, but that's Jeanette Garofalo.
Yeah.
Jeanette, what's her last name? Is it Garofalo?
I don't know.
That's not right.
But,
Sorry,
so she's...
I butchered your...
So then we kind of get... Isn't there a scene like this in Alien where you, like, meet the team and they all kind of tell you who they are?
I haven't seen Alien in so long.
Okay.
I mean, it's been forever.
But anyway, they're all kind of sitting around a table and they go in a circle and all introduce themselves. So we have Adisa, who's, like, a structural engineer. Duncan Taylor, who's the systems and OS analyst, which I think OS is just operating system.
Should be,
So he's systems and operating system. Wouldn't you just be a systems analyst then? Anyway, Hernandez, who is robotics, and Dusset, who is SATCOM and security. So he's in charge of communications and security.
Yeah.
And so now we kind of meet the team and then we're back on Earth again. And this is what I mean. It kind of, like, Day After Tomorrow did such a good job of, like, switching back and forth between the things without getting confusing. In this movie, it just feels like we're all over the place. Like, we're following too many groups.
Yeah.
And, like, I think, like, the whole plot line with, like, Max and the girl is, like, a romance. Like, I feel like some of that stuff could have been cut down or dropped.
Yeah.
To give more screen time to, like, the stuff we actually want to see.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we cut back to Hong Kong.
So, before you get into that...
Okay.
When they first go in to meet... when he first goes in to meet the team, like,
Yeah.
they're all being kind of crappy to him.
Well, especially, the main one is Duncan.
Yeah. And then as
Who's
soon as
British.
as soon as he says his name, they're like, oh my gosh.
They're in awe, because...
You're him? Like,
Yeah. And I will say earlier, like, to give the movie some credit, earlier said, like, it's nothing like the International Space Station in real life.
Yeah.
He says in the movie he helped build it.
Yeah.
So it's either, like, this is either an alternate universe where that's the ISS they built instead of the one we have now, or they just changed, like, they upgraded the ISS, and he was involved in it. So anyway, we're back on Earth in Hong Kong, where we see Cheng working in, like, a cubicle on, like, his laptop. And he's running simulations,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I couldn't figure out what he was doing. Like, I couldn't figure out what his role was.
I think he was supposed to be one of the scientists that was involved with the project originally.
Okay. See,
But I don't think they ever say that.
There's so many questions. Like, we didn't
Yeah.
know who Ed Harris's character was. We didn't know. Like, there's just so much.
And maybe they do say that stuff in there, but it's lost in all the other crap that's in here.
Yeah.
Like, this... Like, stuff needed cut.
But then other stuff needed added.
Yes.
If that makes sense. If that, you guys
Yes.
listening, if that makes sense. Like, we have all this fluff that we didn't need.
But the good parts need some more expansion.
Right, exactly.
And like, there's some scenes that I think were perfect. Like, I think the Hong Kong scene where he's driving in his car, I thought that was like a good length to like show the terror and stuff.
But why didn't we see more of that? You know what I mean? Like, they missed so much opportunity for these things to be failing and for
Yeah,
them.
I
Which,
agree.
again, I don't think that was their focus of the movie. The
Yeah.
focus was supposed to be more on the space side. I
And
just.
it was more espionage. I don't know. This movie, I think that's the issue with this movie. It was a space movie and it was a disaster movie and it was a espionage movie and it was
It wasn't sure what it was.
too many cooks in the kitchen. I
Right.
think that's most likely what it was.
Yeah, it didn't know what it wanted to be.
Um so I do think it's funny because Chang calls Max and says the thing in Hong Kong was because they think it's just a gas leak. People think it's just a gas leak. But Chang in Hong Kong calls Max and is like, this was not a gas leak. This was from the thing. That's what he's doing on his computer. He's trying to check the satellite.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I do think I wrote this down because it's so funny to me. He's on the phone with Max, talking at a normal pace, explaining himself very articulate, not being panicky at all. And Max is like, whoa, slow down.
Yeah,
And I don't think he was talking too confusing. He wasn't talking fast. He was giving space for Max to interject if he needed to.
and
That just felt like such a weird line to me.
I don't know if you mentioned this, but Max is Max and Wilson are together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the same time, she gets a call that there's an emergency conference with
Yes.
the president.
So she has to leave.
And it's this big secret thing because they're not supposed to be in a relationship together.
Yeah. But so Chang is like, this satellite's down. Well, then Max tries to log in on his what do they call
I
them?
don't know what they called them.
Holodecks or something?
And see, that was the other thing. Like, other than those, and obviously the net around
Yeah,
the world,
yeah.
the technology was the same as what we had.
I know, and this movie was like, I was gonna say, this movie was 2017.
Yeah.
And they didn't have like super advanced like cell phones or anything like that. The only thing was that some people in government had these like holodecks.
And all they were was it looked like a. Kind of reminded me of the Flasher and Men in Black, like
Yeah.
size wise.
Yeah, but then
and
it
then
folds
it pulled
out. Yeah.
to like.
And it's like
It pulls out to like a.
a screen.
Like
It's
a
like a
holographic screen.
yeah. It's like a partially like transparent.
Yeah. What's the movie
like
where
blue.
they're doing all that on the wall and it's like I feel like it's a.
They do that in Marvel.
That's
Iron
what I was
Man
gonna
does
say, I think
that.
it's
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so it's kind of like that, but it's
Yeah.
handheld.
Yeah.
Handheld.
Well, I think there might be handheld versions in like Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff, but I don't remember. But yeah, so the after this, we find out that Max cannot access any of the satellites at all, even with his like senator credentials. And so we cut back to the ISS, and Jake is scanning every satellite that's the same kind as Afghan, which I kind of mentioned earlier, where it's like the SR-22 or whatever it is, and he's going through and scanning every single one. There's like 1,000 of them to see if any of them have like anything that they can figure out what's going on.
Because you mentioned this, but they figured out that the one that they were looking, the one that was damaged that they have, they wanted the data off of it, but the data's all corrupted.
Yeah.
And they haven't realized that the guy took information yet.
And so after we get like, again, it's like, I also wonder if some of these scenes could have been put together better. Like, we have a longer section of them on Earth and then a longer section in space instead of cutting back and forth between the two so much.
Well, I think we could have focused more on, because honestly, it should have been more of a space movie because of what the plot of the movie was. So I think we could have focused more on, which, I mean, I guess we needed some of Max, but like more on in space, and then we should have learned things as Jake learned things.
Yes.
Like all the information that we get from Max, I think it would have been like,
if Max had relayed that.
right, like more of an oh my gosh shock, like what, you know, because we would have been guessing what's going on, but we already knew because we saw.
So anyway, Jake decides they're going to do that. So then we're back on Earth with Max, and he gets help from a girl who's I think she's supposed to be like an ethical hacker, like a governmental hacker, like stopping
No, she just does like
cybersecurity.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
cybersecurity, but she's
And her name's Dana,
Dana.
and she's my favorite character in the whole movie.
I liked Dana.
Who plays her? Because I don't know for sure, because it's been a long time since I've watched any of the Deadpool movies, but I think she's the girl that plays Domino. But don't quote me on that.
Uh, Zazie Beats.
Is she the... Are you on IMDb?
Yeah, just a second.
Um, but anyway, so Max kind of gives her the lowdown of what's going on, and
She was Domino in Deadpool.
that's
she
what
was
I
in
thought.
The Joker.
I don't remember in the
Sophie
Joker.
In the Joker.
I don't remember that, but yeah. So Max kind of gives her the lowdown, and is like, I need someone on the inside that kind of hack my holodeck and see what's going on. So she gets into it, and she's like, someone is denying your access but trying to make it look like a malfunction.
Yeah. That's all she's been in that I've seen.
Okay.
That I would recognize.
I thought that was her, but I didn't want to like say that and be wrong.
Yeah.
But so now we're back on the ISS, and I think they could have done a better job here of, because I think we just cut back to the ISS and follow Jake for a minute, and then he has the call with Max. I think we could have just had the call with Max, and that like it zooms out, and then we follow Jake for a minute.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I even just like transitioning from one to the other, I feel like could have been smoother.
I agree completely.
Because
this movie had so much potential, and I just feel like they really missed the mark on a lot of things.
Well, and what I'm saying about like there could have been more scenes that were like focused on them and switching back and forth. These scenes where they're talking to each other and relaying information to each other, switch which person we're with at that time, and then switch it back next time they have a call.
That's a good. See, I didn't think about that, but that's a good idea.
And you probably have to put in a few more calls because I think there's only like 3 or something in the movie, so if you wanted to have a couple more, you could. But like, I think that would have been a better way to transition back and forth between the two, and it would have.
Yeah.
I think it would have flowed better.
And one thing you said you had an issue with was his daughter, like.
Yeah, you think she's going to be a big deal in the movie because she narrates the beginning, and then you see her and stuff, and then she doesn't. I mean, you see her with her mom later, like concerned about the dad coming home, and that's about it.
And then at the very end,
yeah,
you see her again.
yeah,
I mean,
and she
like,
gives a little closing narration, but she's not like she's not really a player in the movie.
And we don't, from the scenes of like her and her mom sitting there watching the news, we don't learn anything new that we don't already know.
No.
And I think they could have handled that better. Like, day after tomorrow, when they're listening to the radio or they're watching TV, we learn something along with them.
Yeah.
And you don't in this movie.
No. And like, what I said was, I thought she was going to be the reason that he ends up, like, saving the day and, like, solving it. Like, she was going to say, because we see her, like, fixing the solar panel, so she's obviously smart. So I thought maybe she was going to get a video call on a video call with him, and she like says something that like sparks an idea in his head that gets him going.
Yeah, but they never video call with each other.
No, no, at all. And so it like literally she could have been cut out of the movie and nothing would have changed.
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree.
So they either need to.
It's like I said earlier before we started recording. Maybe that was to
give more stakes.
The kind of relationship between Max and Jake.
Yeah, but I think we got that even without that.
I do too. I'm just saying, playing devil's advocate for a minute.
I really think it was in there to give more stakes for Jake. But
true too.
I don't think my perception of the movie would have changed if we did not know that he had a child and ex-wife. I don't think anything really would have changed.
Day after tomorrow, where he's going to rescue her, we have.
And like
really.
It's not like
the mom and him are not getting back together.
Well, and like spoilers, but later in the movie, whenever everything is going wrong and there's tornadoes happening in random places and all this stuff, literally Max is like, "Oh yeah, your daughter's fine. She's in an area that's not being affected."
Yeah.
And it's like, it would give it more stakes, even if she was in an area that was being affected.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he knew that. Like, I feel like that would give it bigger stakes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. And like it. And like a day after tomorrow, that's why the president believes him, and like it's such a big impact, is because his son is in the North, and he's basically saying the North is lost for now.
Right, and he's like, but then it's the vice president that's kind of against him, but then the president's like, his son is there. Like, there were so many parts of this movie, and they were not cohesive.
I agree, and it feels like they were trying to assemble a jigsaw puzzle from the pieces of other movies that came before.
Yeah.
Like there's some things in here that I thought felt like National Treasure stuff. The team scene feels like it's from Alien. Um, like your husband said stuff that it seems like some stuff was taken from Armageddon and um, uh, Day After Tomorrow. Like there's all these, and it just feels like they it's like that scene in SpongeBob where Patrick comes over to do a jigsaw puzzle and he's just gluing random pieces together. That's what it feels like they did.
Yeah. And it's just not. It just.
And it does feel like it has all the building blocks of a good movie.
It has potential.
Yes.
If you have not seen
Zookeeper.
I was gonna say Madagascar, and I'm like, that is Madagascar. Not seen Zookeeper, check that one out. Not horror, but check it out.
So we are. Where were we at? Oh, they get on the video call, and this is where we find out that Max lied to him, and Jake is reporting to Max.
Yeah.
And so Jack is up on the station, and he gets kind of mad about it.
Jake.
And what did I say?
Jack.
Oh, I knew I was gonna do that. And then Max kind of storms out. Right.
Is it Max or Jake?
I think Max kind of turns around and leaves because Jake is being kind of a butthead.
Jake is being Jake.
So we're still on the ISS with Jake, and they're bringing in another satellite, but it won't respond. And I didn't write down which satellite it is. I think it's just one of the other ones is the same model as the Afghanistan one. Right?
I don't know if they probably said, but.
But then the control arm starts going crazy.
Yeah, that was kind of a cool scene.
I agree. And it like slams the shuttle into the ceiling.
Yeah.
And it like breaks the control arm from it. But
and it shatters the
shuttle.
Yes.
And so they gather the pieces and they take them down to mechanical, and then they basically tell them it's all scrap and they can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So again, the scene kind of felt like it wasn't necessary at all.
I agree 100%.
Like, it didn't really add anything other than, oh wow, the control arm went crazy too. But we already knew that the space station was under whatever effect was going on because it launched the guy outside.
Yeah.
But anyway, this leads them into one of those panels that flew off got caught on something.
The outside part of the thing.
There's some kind of cables. Anyway, what were you going to say?
Never mind. It didn't make sense after I started to say it. But it's like these. It looks kind of like a wrought iron fence. But they're movable.
Yeah. Well, he says there's weak points where you can move them in cases like this.
Because they knew that was going to happen.
I guess.
Because that would be my first thought of what I wanted to.
Yeah.
You know.
So the what did I?
So Jake and Utah decide they're gonna go out there and get it.
Yeah, so they put on spacesuits and they go out there and they, like we said, they get it loose and Jake makes a comment about, oh, we left loose points on here just in case something like this happened. I don't know. And they look like cables, is what they look like to me. So you left some slack in the cables? That doesn't seem safe.
I got more that it was like metal, but you could just kind of slide them over if you needed to.
I know, but they look like metal cables. Like the cables you would have in an elevator.
I didn't get cables. I thought it was more like...
That's what they look... The way he moves it, that's what it seemed like to me. But I don't know.
I didn't get that, but...
So as this is happening, Jake's suit starts going berserk, and he's holding, like, the panel. And the thing they need from the panel is, like, a microchip or something that they can scan to see if there was tampering. So he starts getting flung around by, like, his jetpack. That's another thing they have that I don't know if they actually have in real life. It's kind of like a jetpack. And
yeah, I don't know.
Because in real life, I'm sure they have some kind of propulsion system, but they also are hooked up to whatever they're going outside of. Like, almost never do they just go free. Like, they almost always have a cable going back.
I thought that was kind of stupid.
Because they just go out,
attached to the
yeah.
The space.
Because it wouldn't be as dramatic. So,
It might make sense if they were connected.
yeah. So, yeah, they get the panel, and then his suit starts going crazy. He crashes into a bunch of stuff, and eventually he has to just, like, let go of the door. And I thought that was going to lead into more problems on the ISS.
Yeah.
Like, him crashing into all that stuff, I thought it was going to mess up communications or something like
Yeah,
that.
because I mean, he's like messing with like.
I think it's solar panels. Yeah.
Like solar panels on
Yeah.
the outside, like sliding down them and knocking them off into space, and
And so, anyway, he ends up dropping the panel, and then he takes off the jetpack. Could he have not released the jetpack thing first?
Uh,
That was another thing that I was like. Anyway, because
your guess is as good as
well,
mine.
because they do say he was trying to turn it off, but then he just takes it off later when someone mentions it. He didn't think to take it off. Like, that seems so obvious to me.
I mean, I would have. My first thought would be turn it off. I don't know if I would have thought.
That would be my first thought too, but he doesn't think about it as he's being flung around through the air until after he drops the panel and someone mentions it. Like, I feel like he built that space station. He should know a little bit.
Yeah, but did he build the space suit?
So anyway,
I know we are being really picky, you guys.
I did not enjoy this movie. It wasn't terrible. It was not engaging.
It just was not for me.
And I don't like the graphics. Like, there's some good. Like, the graphics weren't bad. I don't think they were as good as like The Day After Tomorrow even, but they weren't bad. Did
you mention the hailstorm earlier?
It hasn't come up yet. And I like Dana's character. I think she's really funny. I think she was my favorite character in the movie. But
she's just very quirky, and she basically tells Max if she helps, then she doesn't want to be a stooge in a cubicle anymore.
Yeah.
She wants to. And then later on, she's kind of like, "Whew, what did I get myself involved in?"
Well, and I just think she's kind of. I know I was making fun of the girl for being Hannah for being snarky because she's a kid, but she is like a snarky archetype, but she's a realistic one because like she's an adult and she's like, it just fit her character so well.
Very much so.
But after he releases like the jetpack thing, he starts to like float away from the station, but barely manages to catch on at the last second. And then I think we just cut to them inside.
We do.
Which kind of felt anticlimactic.
Doesn't she grab a hold of him? The last minute?
I think, no, he like grabs onto like the very end of the solar panels.
Oh, yeah.
And then we cut to inside, I'm pretty sure.
That's right.
Which I thought felt kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah. The whole movie was anticlimactic.
Yeah, I agree. So, he reveals to her here that he slipped the drive into the glove of his suit.
Because as you're being flown around, what is the movie where the guy's like in a suit or something and somebody's controlling it and they're like, he's like with like a joystick and he's like bouncing off the walls? I think it's a cartoon.
I don't know.
Anyway, this thing kind of reminded me of that, but in all of that, he didn't think to take his jetpack off, but he thought to take the thing out.
Yeah. And see, that's what I mean, because it's like, oh, he can think under pressure because he put that in his glove, but he can't think enough under pressure to take off a jetpack that's actively trying to kill him.
Why would you slide something in your glove?
And where was it on the panel? Why did we not see that happen?
But how would you get it in your glove? Because he wasn't holding it. Because you can't.
I don't know.
I thought your suit had to be like completely sealed. Like you can't take your suit off in outer space.
I think it does. I don't know how they actually work though, so I'm not gonna. I agree with you. That's probably not realistic, but I don't know enough about them to say that for sure. But I do agree that seems stupid. And if it was that easy to just pull that out, why did they not just take that? Why did they try to take the gigantic panel?
No idea.
Because I think what he says is he slipped it out while they were getting it out of the thing. While they were getting it out of, like, the cable things. This movie just, a lot of it doesn't make sense.
I know that you have to suspend belief in a lot of movies, but...
You have to earn it, too.
It just so happened to be the panel that had the thing in it.
They say every panel did. They do say that. They say that every panel had a hard drive.
Because that makes perfect sense.
Well, I guess if it's like the futuristic, and I don't really understand why they would need to release them, but if they need to do that for some reason. Actually, I do know why they would need to do that. If there's a fire, they can cut it off and release the panels so it can't spread in there. But again, then you're cut off from half the station. So I don't know. I don't really know, but
we don't know.
So, and again, one thing I thought about, he knows that someone, or he thinks that someone on the station is in on it, right? So why did he show the head scientist? Her suit didn't malfunction and go crazy. So how did he know that she wasn't the one doing that to him? I get earlier on he says that she was on his original team, but I don't think that proves anything. Like, you need to establish a better relationship for the viewer if you want stuff like that to happen, where it's like he intrinsically trusts this girl.
Right, and it's like you said earlier before we started recording, like,
I didn't feel like they had chemistry at all.
right,
like, even as like coworkers.
Even if, yeah.
Like, they just like
it was very awkward.
because I think it's supposed to be implied that they're like they were coworkers, but they kind of became friends while they were up there on the thing. It does not feel like that at all, though. Like, especially like later when we find that like she stayed behind, like that did not feel earned in any way.
That was weird.
I agree, and we'll talk about it. But so,
I have a lot of issues with that scene.
They hide that from the rest of the team that he had the drive. So then they check out the drive and find out that the panel was tampered with. Like, obviously, duh.
What do you mean it was tampered with?
Literally from the beginning, like, I knew as soon as it started malfunctioning, I was like, this is not just it malfunctioning. Someone is doing this. Like, it was so obvious.
Yeah.
Also, this movie, with how fast it seems to move, it also seems like it moves so slow.
Yes.
Like, it seems like a lot happens, but nothing happens.
Right. And for a movie that's not even 2 hours long, like...
How long is it?
An hour and 50 minutes. For a movie that's not even 2 hours long, it felt like it was 3 days long. Like, I felt like I was watching Gone with the Wind.
Well, and I think you could...
as a movie, but...
I think you could take... Well, and yeah, and I think I've talked about this before, but, like, I went and saw the second Avatar in theaters when it came out.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge fan of, like, the story of the movie or anything, but, like, you go for the visuals and that. I sat there for that 4-hour movie without going to the bathroom or anything, and it felt so fast. Like, it felt like I had only been there for, like, 10 minutes.
Right.
Because that movie was just so engaging, and it gets your attention, and you're having fun, and you don't realize how much time is passing. And then this movie, it was such a slog.
It was. That's the exact word I was going to use.
Like, it feels like trying to walk through mud.
And when we were talking last week, when we were talking about what movies we were going to do, I had made the comment, you know, we may do Geostorm and Into the Storm in one episode because we knew nothing about them. Well, then when I went to watch it and I saw it was Gerard Butler, I even texted you and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm really excited to watch this one. And it was not top of my list.
Because you asked me what year it was from and I told you and you said, does it have Gerard Butler in it? Like, you were really excited about it.
I'm like, surely this is not the one we're watching.
This movie... And I expected this one to be absolute garbage, and I expected Into the Storm to be... I mean, I expected this one to be good and Into the Storm to be garbage. And it kind of was the opposite for me, but we'll talk about that later. But, so they learn that it was tampered with, I said that. Then we're back at Earth, and Max and the Secret Service lady, Agent Wilson, are supposed to meet up with Chang. But while Chang is crossing the street, he gets run over by a car.
We see somebody push him out in front of a car.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
I would think I was taking notes, so I didn't actually see it happen, but he gets hit by a car.
Yeah, and then Max goes running over to him, and then... Agent
Wilson chases the car.
Well, she's standing there on the other side of the street, and she watches the guy that pushes him get into that car, and then take off. Which, I thought this scene was stupid, because why didn't she get the license plate?
Why didn't she tackle the guy?
I don't think she would have had time to do that. But why didn't she get the license plate?
I don't know.
Like, if you're a Secret Service agent, you'd think you'd, like...
Yeah.
Why to get the license plate?
And I didn't say this in here, but somewhere whenever Chang's working on his laptop, after he calls Max, we get a scene where he, like, has to hide in a closet because guys come in with guns.
Yeah.
But again, I feel like that's another scene that could have been cut.
And I still don't understand, like...
I think this movie could have been a comfortable hour and a half.
I understand, like, now that you told me what his role was, but why were they so focused on him? Like, were they watching everybody this close to see if somebody was going to figure this out?
Because he was accessing the satellite. I don't think they say that, but I think that's the implication.
Again, something that's implied.
Yeah.
Spell it out.
Well, and I think it's okay to have implied stuff because the audience is smarter than you think, but this movie doesn't engage your attention enough for you to pick up on the stuff.
Right.
Like, crap just happens, and it's going a million miles an hour, and it also feels like nothing. There's no progress.
Right.
Like, it feels like everything is happening, but there's no progress.
And you can't get into the scene. Like, you just start getting into a
Yeah,
character, and it's like, oh, we're going to throw you over here.
exactly. And that's what I mean. I feel like we could have had, like, here's 10 minutes on Earth with them, and then here's 20 minutes on the space station, 20 minutes on Earth. Like, like,
Yeah.
better chunks of time with each people instead of, like, here's 2 minutes with this guy, 2 minutes with this guy. And I don't know if that's actually the length, but it feels like we did not spend enough time with certain people. And, like, I even feel like,
not to interrupt you, but I didn't care about anybody in this movie.
yeah.
Like, normally with the kid,
I like
I'm
Dana.
Like,
she was the only one.
Yeah, but, like, she wasn't really ever in danger.
No.
But, like, even the daughter, like...
And I think that's another thing about this movie, that it doesn't feel like there's much stakes for the characters.
No.
It almost never feels like any of them are in danger.
No. Except for the president later on.
Even then, it doesn't feel...
Well, I mean, but he says he's gonna blow up the whole... or have a storm hit the whole country.
I know. It does not... The problem with world-ending scenario stuff like this is the stakes are so big that you can't wrap your head around it.
Right.
And it's a big thing in the superhero genre too, which is kind of like my forte. You have to put your characters in peril to get your audience to feel for them.
Right.
And just saying, oh, the entire Earth is going to be destroyed doesn't show us much.
Right.
Like, people, it's like trying to imagine $1 billion.
Right.
You can't imagine 1 billion of anything. That's too much of that's too big of a number for our brains to conceptualize. So you need to give us small enough stakes that we can relate to the characters, but big enough stakes that it makes sense for what's going on.
Right. And
so, like, in Day After Tomorrow, the sun's stuck in New York.
Right. And even the president, like, the part with the president, like, not that we don't care about the president, but, like, that's not real life for me. Like,
Yeah.
Day After Tomorrow, I could relate to having a kid that age. Not that you're a kid, but
Yeah.
you're my kid. A kid that age who would be stuck somewhere else, and your whole goal as a parent would be, I have to save
Yeah.
my kid. Like, this is... And when it's the president, they're so far removed from our everyday life that it's hard to... So,
Well, and I
I know we haven't touched on this, but... So later on, the president is... I think he's up for re-election. Like, it's getting close to election time,
Yeah.
so he's at a convention in Florida.
Yeah, they say...
It's Florida because it's close to where Jake lives.
Yes, and they say the
Orlando.
name...
Is
What?
it Orlando?
Yes, it's Orlando. Yes.
And so... that we find out that Ed Harris's character... We find out, which you've already said this, but
Yeah.
he's the bad guy. He's
Yeah.
planning all this. We find out he is going to have the satellite... attack, like, target Orlando and take
Because-
out everybody that's above him in government.
Yes, which that's another thing that doesn't make sense, because in real life they have fail safes. If one person is over here in this area, they keep one in Washington D.C.
Right.
Or if everyone's in Washington D.C., they keep one somewhere else. That's
But
why
I
they
mean,
have the fail
but don't
safes.
I mean, they do. Where they do have, like, for conventions and stuff, they'll have the president and the vice president in the same spot, won't they?
Yes, but I'm saying they will have someone in the chain of command at off premises.
Right.
They'll have like third or fourth in line
Right.
if they don't need to be there.
Right.
They'll have them in like a bunker or something. They'll keep them safe somewhere else. They don't talk about that in the movie, that they have someone off.
Well, according to Ed Harris's character, what's his name? Deckham.
Yeah,
Everybody in line is in Orlando.
yeah,
Which
that's
doesn't
what I
make any
mean.
sense to me, because then why did he go to Orlando?
Exactly.
Like, anyway. Sorry,
And I don't
guys,
know-
we are all over the place with this movie.
I think you have to be. The movie's all over the place.
Yeah.
Um,
I do want to say that toward the end, which again, spoilers, but if you're this far into it, it doesn't really matter. Again, when we think the space shuttle is going to self-destruct, like, there could have been some tension there. There could have been some,
that's another place where I feel like the stakes could have been higher.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Because, like, he sees explosion stuff happening around, like, he looks through the glass and sees, like, an explosion happen or something, but it does not feel like he's in direct peril.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
there's not an explosion happening behind him,
Right.
or something like that. Like, a thing that a lot of, like, action movies do to, like, really push, like, the peril is, like, when an explosion happens and the person gets pushed by the force of it.
Right.
Like, have that happen.
But see, I don't know if you could on something in space, because you wouldn't have this sealed off. Because he does look out the window at that one point, but there's like a
I
there's
still think if you have an explosion in space, the concussive force is still going to push you because there's
you think
nothing
so.
there. There's nothing there pushing back against you like gravity, but the concussive force would push you just even harder.
Well, that's maybe I don't know enough
I
about
don't know if that's
space, but
actually. I mean, in realistically, I don't know if stuff can explode like that in space,
I
like
don't either.
flammably, because fire cannot exist without oxygen.
That's true.
So I don't know how an explosion in space would actually
Yeah.
work. But
Okay, so let's get through the
yeah.
movie and then we can talk about all of this.
So yeah. So Chang, right before he dies, all he gets out is he says Zeus.
Yes.
Also, it did not seem, in my opinion, I don't. Did it? Was the car moving that fast? I don't think you would necessarily die from
No, because it's
this.
a busy city street. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I mean, he might have died, but I don't know if it would have been in. Like, it's not like the car was going 60 miles an hour.
So yeah, I wrote that Agent Wilson kind of chases the car for a second, but she kind of just gives up.
Yeah, and again, why didn't she get the license plate number?
Exactly.
Like, that would
Yeah.
have been my first thought, even as a not a. I
And
mean, I'm not an agent, but
if she's Secret Service, is she just like off the clock when she's going to meet up with Chang, or what? Because like, isn't that like, don't you want to be in the area where the president's at all times?
well, I mean, I'm sure they have to get time off.
I don't know. I don't know how it works, and I don't know how you could really keep it a secret.
Didn't Chang call at the same time the president called a meeting?
Yeah.
So then why was she with him?
Well, Chang was in Hong Kong, so he had to make it to where they're at.
Gotcha.
So it's presumed that some time has passed. Anyway, so we're back at the space station, and again, this is another one where why don't we follow Max and zoom out of the thing, and then we see Jake, and then we follow him for a minute.
Right.
We just cut back to Jake,
Right.
and I think that's one of this movie's biggest flaws is how much it cuts back and forth between all these stories. Like,
Yeah.
I genuinely wonder if I put this in a video editor and edit it into a better order, if it would make more sense and flow better.
Probably.
But, and I'm not saying I'm like a professional editor, because I'm definitely not, but this movie is not, it cuts all over the place.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Jake ends up speaking in code to Max, and this was kind of set up earlier. I guess this might be the only thing that Hannah adds to the movie. Earlier when he was talking to Hannah, he says, yeah, me and your brother used to have a code. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember her saying that.
Hannah doesn't say it. Max says it to Hannah whenever he makes the stranger comment. Yeah. And so so I did think this was funny. This is why I like Dana, because Max gets the like encrypted message. So he takes it to Dana and is like, "Can you undo this for me? This is how the code works." Which if he knows how the code works, why doesn't he just do it himself? But anyway, so the IT girl, whenever he's talking about all this, the Jake framed it as, "Do you remember when Dad took us fishing?" So he comes down there and he's talking to Dana and he's like, "Our dad never took us fishing," and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like I don't know what to say. I'm not very good with like daddy issues." And that was like the funniest line in the whole movie.
And I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, but Max and Wilson are not supposed to be in a relationship. Like, it's this big deal secret thing that they're not supposed to be in a relationship.
Is it illegal or is it just like one of those like taboo? Did they ever clarify that?
I think it. I mean, it wouldn't. I don't think it'd be illegal.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of taboo. Like, workplace looks down on it, which is common in workplaces, and I think they try to add drama to it with that. And
I genuinely just think they have too many plot lines going on, and it like we don't really see much of their actual relationship outside of him kind of manipulating her into doing stuff for him.
Yeah, I don't know. She's a pushover to be Secret Service.
Yeah. So, anyway, Dana ends up, like, decoding the message, and he's just relaying to... Jack was just relaying to Max that there's a saboteur among them. Which, again, this feels unnecessary because we already know that. So why are we seeing it again? Like, we could have cut out him finding it out.
Right.
Like, we could have cut away from him when he gets the drive.
Right.
And then we cut back and we follow Max, and then we get to the screen thing. We come out of the screen for Max, go to Jack, and Jack tells us all this stuff that's going on, and then we go back to Max.
Yeah.
I feel like that could have worked.
I did think that the code thing was cool.
Yes.
That they did it that way, and so what it was.
You know what it made me think of?
Like every so many words he said was a thing.
Yeah. It was a code that Max had come up with when he was 13 years old. He tells Dana that.
But I like, would you be able to remember that? Like,
I mean, he made it up.
If you're no, I don't mean that, but I mean like if you're telling this whole story.
If they spoke it,
remember what the 9th word is every time that you.
If they spoke in it as kids, like, and they are well versed in it.
That's true.
But like, do you know what it made me think of?
What?
The iCarly episode where they're trapped in the basement and they send a video to Gibby and they're like, every 4th word, and then it like he goes back and listens to every 4th word and they explain that they got kidnapped and stuff.
No, I haven't seen that one.
It's like my favorite episode of iCarly. But so Dana is like, oh, and he also here asked Dana about Project Zeus. So she looks it up and she's like, I can't access these. You have to have White House credentials to get into these. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I don't know anyone that has White House credentials. And she's like, yes, you do. Yeah. And then we cut to him with Sarah, and that's probably my favorite cut in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like, I think that flowed well.
It flowed well, but it flowed so well it threw me off.
Yeah.
Wait, what? We were just with Dana. Like,
but, like, I feel like it makes sense. But we cut to her, and she's coming home, and she sees Dana in the house. And are they, like, looting the house? Like, it almost felt like they were searching for something.
She said that...
She broke a wine glass.
I got the impression that her and Max lived together.
Yes. Dana is in their house.
No, but... Dana broke a wine glass. She says that later on. So I don't think she was, like, looting the house.
I know. But I thought maybe they're, like, searching for her credentials or something. Because... I don't know, they were in 2 separate rooms, and, like, if you invited a person over to your house, are you just gonna, like, let them wander throughout your house?
Well, and that's the thing, like, if I came home and Erin's in one room and there's a woman in another room, she's like, sorry, I dropped a wine glass. Why the hell are you drinking wine with my husband in my... Well, he's my husband. Max, obviously, they're not married, but, like, I would be like, there would be questions.
No, I know, and Sarah rightfully pulls out a gun, because she thinks someone broke it, because I think her...
wine glass thing. What I'm saying is, like, I'd be like, why the heck are you...
Well, she's still pointing her gun at that one.
Yeah.
But I think her coming in scared her and she dropped the wine glass.
Oh, probably. Well, maybe she was just getting her and Max something to drink.
Because the wine glass is what makes Sarah pull out the gun.
Right.
Is when it breaks.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a random scene. Like, I don't...
Yeah. And it was so easy for them to convince her to give them her credentials. She's like,
there's like no convincing.
I'm gonna do it one time.
She's like, I took an oath, and he's like, I thought you would do it for me, and then she does it.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. He feels kind of manipulative.
Well, he didn't have to manipulate too hard.
I know, but him being like, oh, I thought you would do it because it's for me. Like, kind of putting your relationship on the line for it almost.
I don't know. I mean, I guess...
She doesn't seem... Do you want my honest opinion? She does not seem that interested in that relationship.
No. Until she tells the president,
yeah.
Fiance.
Yeah. Which also kind of felt like it came out of nowhere.
You have a spider right above your head on a web, and it is getting ready to drop right on your head. Don't kill it.
I'm not. I like spiders.
I do too. I just didn't want it to land in your hair.
Well, now he's down there.
Okay.
Sorry,
guys.
I'm leaving that in. That's the real scary story. There he goes. He's gonna cross the floor.
This is gonna get bit and turn into Spider-Man.
Yeah. So they kind of give the rundown to Sarah, and she's like, well, I can't really give you my credentials. And then he asks once nicely, and she's like, okay. I don't think we even see her say okay. I think we cut away without knowing whether or not she gave the credentials. So now we're back on the ISS, and they are rewatching security footage, and they see like the Oot, right?
I think so.
And Jake, I almost said Jack, are looking at security footage, and they're looking at the security footage from when the first satellite from Afghanistan was brought in.
Right.
And they see that he took something and put it in a locker.
Yes.
And this is when we get into another scene that I felt like was a little too long. where they go down and they're looking through his locker, and then the guy comes out, the security guy comes out, and is like, "What are you guys doing?" and stuff, and then reveals it's in an
And
empty
he pulls a
locker.
gun on him.
Yeah, he trusted them way too easily after what they said,
They
in
all
my
have.
opinion. Yeah,
I mean, I always trusted everybody in this movie.
but at the same time, this scene just felt extra long. You know what I mean?
It was supposed to be dramatic because they go to his locker and they open it and the
It's
thing's
empty,
not
yeah.
there.
But then the guy's just like, "Oh yeah, he put it in an empty locker."
But how did he know the code for an empty locker?
I don't think she did. I think Oot says it because I think
No,
she's
no.
the
I
head.
mean him to get in there to put this stuff in there.
The guy?
Yeah.
I assume it didn't have a code.
Well then,
If it's an empty locker, I wonder if he just opened it, did it, and then set a code.
maybe. No, because I thought we saw him punch a code in.
Maybe we do. I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway,
We never find out what his position was there, so maybe he was.
hid it in an empty locker.
Yeah. So they find it.
Which I have an issue with there being so many people needed on the ISS. Which I understand they're doing all this extra stuff with all of this, but you would think that the monitoring of it, if we can see it on Earth, that the majority of the people monitoring it could have been on Earth.
Well, in
I mean,
spoilers, but later in the movie they transfer the controls to NASA on Earth.
Yeah. And we're talking like probably 100 people, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
On the ISS.
And it's kind of implied they only have one shuttle to get back to Earth, which seems...
No, they don't.
They don't?
No.
Okay.
No, because when him and her at the end, toward the end, when Jake and what's-her-name were there, the announcement comes over that it's the last shuttle.
Okay, that makes more sense. I must have just missed that there was more than one.
Yeah.
And maybe they show that when they're loading up, because I think I was taking notes of that part. But,
And then they say later on maybe one of the shuttles.
I really don't know if this was even necessary, because I don't... They figure out it's a virus.
Yeah.
They already knew something was wrong. Why didn't they figure that out from the panel?
I think that they figured that, I mean, I think it was because it was a virus, it was a virus in the whole system, not just...
I know. So why wasn't it in the panel? Because later on, the ISS turns into like one of those satellites too, because it starts shooting stuff down, remember? So if it's in the ISS, why was it in that panel?
That's a good question. I don't know.
So I feel like literally you could have cut all this out.
That's a good question. I don't know the answer.
Or cut out the whole panel part and just have them find out that it's a virus from this without...
But then we wouldn't have seen him almost float away into space. You know, a smart astronaut ties himself to the ship, but...
I did not think you were going to say astronaut. So... where were we at? So, Dusset was waiting. They find... It was his hollow frame. That's what it's called, a hollow frame. Yeah. They find his hollow frame. He downloaded the information off of it onto his hollow frame.
And they make it, like at the beginning when he does this, they make it seem like all secretive and like he's going to be the bad guy.
Yeah. I didn't get that implication that he was going to be the bad guy, though.
I did because he hid it. Like, he hid it in the binder and then hid it in the
Well,
locker.
the guy in the locker room looks at him, and I thought it was going to be him. But I don't... But it's not, because he had a French flag on his sleeve.
Yeah.
And the guy's British. I don't remember what the French guy looked like. I just know he had a French flag on his arm.
He was a scrawny little guy.
So... Oh, here's a gripe I had. We get another call between Max and Jack, where Jack is revealing all this information. Yeah. Where Jake is revealing all this information. No longer speaking in code. Did you realize that?
Yeah. I did.
He was speaking in code because he knew whoever had access to these logs. So now he's not speaking in code. He's just flat out saying it all.
Right.
So what was the point in using a code in the first place if you're just going to reveal it all now?
I have no idea. Is this when they tell him to think it's the president?
I think so. Yeah. Yes. Reboot needed a flush virus, but only the president has the codes. Jake thinks it is the president that did this.
Yeah.
So
again, Max uses his powers of persuasion.
First, the ISS satellite stops responding. Everything starts to shut down, and they can't control the satellites anymore. And so we see...
And the ISS is going to explode, like self-destruct, right?
Yes.
In 90 minutes. That popped up, and I'm like, please, dear Lord, do not let there be another 90 minutes of this movie. I probably wouldn't have watched it all.
So we see Rio being frozen over. I wrote something here I can't read.
Is this the hailstorm in Tokyo?
Uh,
Am I getting our movies mixed up?
no.
No.
There's a hailstorm in Tokyo. I don't know if I wrote it down. I think we see, yeah, I think Rio freezes. We see the hailstorm in Tokyo. I think that's what I wrote that I can't read. Yeah, that I wrote hail in Tokyo. That's what I wrote that I wasn't able to read. The last part looked like Kyo, but it is Tokyo. But so what they're gonna do is they're deploying the new satellites, like the replacement satellites, to crash into the other satellites to try and like save the world, basically. So the whole thing in this movie, the Geostorm, like that this movie is named after, is if the satellites all malfunction, there's going to be like basically a worldwide storm that's going to wipe out most of the world except for like a very small section of the United States.
Yeah.
Which I think, like, I don't know. This movie's just dumb. Um, so this is when the Geostorm alert happens that it's going to happen in however much time. And so now we go to Max. And Max manages to get on the plane to go with the president where he's speaking in Orlando and convinces his girlfriend to help out. And we did have a scene earlier where he like half proposed to her.
And she's like, we can't do that.
Yeah. It wasn't like an official proposal. He was like, oh, why don't we just get married?
Yeah.
Also, let me say this. This is not till later. But later on in the movie, he calls her honey. Never once throughout the rest of the movie does he call her honey.
And I thought it was kind of like a snarky honey, too.
Yes. Agreed.
It's just, they're a very weird relationship.
They
And
had...
I have an issue with the fact that Max was able to get on the plane with the president and just go to Orlando.
Well, he was a senator, and there were other people, political people going, but I don't think they would have let him, like, just take the same plane as the president.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't see, like... I mean, I understand, but, I mean, you're also talking... Think how many people are in the House and how many people are in the Senate. Like, I understand that the president knows these people, but to just be like, oh, yeah, sure, get on the same plane as us. Like, you're good. Like, we didn't plan on you going, but...
When Deckham not saying anything, like...
Well,
we find out he's the bad guy. But if he knows this is going down, and he knows that the senator knows something, why would he not say something about the father being dead sooner? Because the excuse he gives for going is his dad lives in Florida.
But he waits until they get to Florida to say something about knowing
Deckham does.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Knowing his dad's gone. Maybe he wanted to take him out with the storm in Florida and didn't say anything.
But that's such a liability.
But didn't say anything until they got to Florida, so he was actually there.
But that's such a liability. Like, I would rather Max not be there at all.
But they also know that... He also knows that they can't do anything without the president because he has the kill codes.
Yeah. But if Deckham was going to try to frame... Because later in the movie they say he's trying to frame Max and Jake. If he was trying to frame them, why would he not call him out there in front of people? Because even if they... Like, if they survive later, Deckham can be like, I told you that these guys were up to something. Why did he lie about his dad being dead and try to go to Florida with us?
But then he wouldn't have been in Florida. I think is the whole point. Like, we needed Max to be in Florida.
I know, but you can write around that.
So the whole point of...
You can't say, oh, this plot hole exists because the story needed this character here. That's the point. You have to make the plot fit where the character needs to go.
Right. But so again, he has convinced his girlfriend to help him with this. And the plan is when the president leaves the convention to go to the after party, he'll be in his room for an hour and taking a shower. And so Max can sneak in and get the kill codes out of his pocket. Now, I have a lot of issues with this because you cannot tell me there's only going to be one Secret Service agent and it's only going to be her with the president when they're at a convention. Like, not at the convention, but like, she's going to be the only one there.
You know what I was thinking about? So, Sarah's Secret Service, right? Yes. Why would Max and Sarah not say, oh, there was a threat on Max's life, so we think it's safer if he travels with the president in the Secret Service, so the Secret Service can protect him? Why not use that as, like, an excuse?
I think because they're trying to hide the relationship between Sarah and...
That doesn't imply a relationship. Well, that just implies that there was a threat on his life and someone in the Secret Service is saying, why don't we protect this man?
But does the Secret Service protect people other than the president?
I think they do.
I don't know.
I think that, like, their first priority is the president, but I think they protect kind of political people that
I don't know how all that works.
I don't either, but I know like the president is their first priority.
Right.
And she even says that in the movie because he's like, if there was a shooting, would you try to protect me or the president first? And she's like, the president.
Yeah.
I do. I don't think they. I don't think their chemistry was terrible, but it did not seem like she was invested in the relationship.
It was just an odd dynamic.
Yeah.
Like she seems all tough, and then she just
Is a pushover.
yeah.
So here's where Jake is like, oh, the only one that could have planted the virus is the systems expert, Duncan. So, and you know what I thought? When we first meet Duncan and he's being like a jerkhead, I thought he was going to be like the only one on the team that he could trust. I thought it was going to turn out that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, it's just he's a bad guy. So
Yeah.
he's being a bad guy.
Yeah.
And that feels so stupid to me.
And why would
Like, okay, Deckham does a really good job of like pretending to be on Max's side for a long time.
Right.
But Duncan from the onset is just
a jerk?
mean. Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many issues with this movie.
Yeah. So we find out Duncan planted the virus, and so here's where we find out that Deckham, again, we're kind of switching back and forth, and we see that Deckham reveals he's actually the bad guy and like pulls a gun on Max.
Yeah.
And so Max manages to get away, and he goes and finds Sarah and is like, Deckham's actually the bad guy. We need to kidnap the president, which felt like National Treasure.
Isn't Secret Service usually like really close to the president?
Yeah.
Like he's like, I'm talking like behind them. Like if you're at a convention standing on the stage, like aren't they kind of on the stage, kind of behind you?
At least two of them, but I don't know how that works with like there's crowds. Like if they go out and.
Okay. I just. So yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
they're like, but this was the stupidest plot ever to kidnap the president.
Yeah. So Dana.
Keep in mind, we've only got Max and we've got Sarah, and they are going to kidnap the president
From everyone.
from a Democratic, or I don't know if it was Democratic, but
Well, they do have Dana too, because she remotely hacks a car for them.
well, that's true. But from a political convention, two people with all of these Secret Service and people protecting the president.
I will say, I do think there were a couple times in this movie that dialogue earlier in scenes set up stuff for later that was done really well. Like the code talk that they talked about. I thought that was a really well done thing where, except for, the next time they talk, they just completely don't worry about the code anymore.
Yeah.
But I thought that was like a good setup of, oh, me and my dad even had our own language. Me and your dad had our own language when we were kids.
Yeah.
And then later on, they use it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of good ideas here.
Yeah.
They just were not executed well.
Yeah.
So, do you want to talk about the plot? I feel like I've talked a bunch.
Go ahead. Let's go ahead and finish up the movie.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the plot and the president? That's what I meant.
Okay, so they're at this convention, and I believe the president has spoken and the vice president is speaking, and so Max goes and finds, which again is weird to me that he could just run around backstage without like.
Yeah.
There's just so much issues with the protection of the president in this movie. But anyway.
Well, and the protection of him because he's a senator.
Right. But I mean, I still don't think they would let a senator run around.
That's what I'm saying. I think he would have a bodyguard with him.
Or even like, it shouldn't be so easy for him to get to Sarah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just.
Well, like Deckham pulled that gun out and no one saw.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, he goes and finds Sarah and he tells Sarah that it's not the president, that it's Deckham. But we also find out Deckham, which this is so stupid. Deckham also tells them that they'll never get the kill code. Okay, so the ISS is set to blow up in 90 minutes. It's a self-destruct thing.
Yes.
All of the satellites are crashing. They're not crashing, but.
And I don't know, not to interrupt you, but I'm going to for a second. I don't know if it's. I think it may have been earlier and I skipped over it, but I didn't write it down. But Duncan dies because he ends up getting cut off in a room because he has a gun and he shoots and it like almost butts out the window. So then Jake seals him in and then Duncan gets sucked out the window.
Yeah.
So the ISS is exploding no matter what because he had the code to like stop the virus.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So The only other person that has the kill codes is the president, and
For the satellites.
For the satellites.
It
and
still won't stop the countdown for the ISS exploding.
But we don't know that.
I think we do.
We don't.
I knew that.
I don't think we knew because Max thinks that it's going to stop the thing from blowing up. Because they have
Max thinks that, but I did not get that because when Jake is talking about Duncan, he's like, Duncan is the only one that can stop this.
See, and I didn't get that. I thought that because I was with Max, like I thought that. But anyway, so when Deckham pulls the gun on Max, he tells Max that they're not going to get the kill codes because the kill codes are actually the president. So,
No, they're not the president. They're 10 fingers.
I was getting there.
I know, but it's very important. It's 10 fingers and 2 eyes, is what they say.
Yes. Of the president.
Yes. You know why I'm clarifying this? Because later, he only scans 1 eye and 5 of his fingers.
Yes.
He scans 1 hand and 1 eye.
And this is one of the stupidest plot points in this whole movie because, and I like I said earlier, I try not to talk a lot when we watch movies because I love to just be in the movie, but I looked at Aaron and I was like, okay, so what happens if somebody assassinates the president? Are they going to drag his dead body wherever they need to? And Aaron's like, well, the eye scan wouldn't work. Because he said it has something to do with like the blood vessels in your eyes or something. I don't know. But he said if something happened to the president, it wouldn't work. So what kind of a kill code would this be?
Yeah, and my thing is, even like the nuclear briefcase or whatever, I'm pretty sure there's still one guy that's like actually stationed where the nukes launch from that has the codes too.
Yeah.
Like, there's a backup.
Yeah.
That's in like a well-protected bunker that...
It just makes absolutely no sense. And crap, there was something else we forgot to mention. I was gonna say fingerprints, kill codes. I don't remember what it was. Deckham.
Do you know it related to it all?
No, I don't remember now. Something about what I was just talking about. The fingerprints. I don't know. I'm sure it'll come to me before we're done. I think. So Sarah fires her gun twice into the air, and they think that,
and no one sees her miraculously.
Right, and she starts screaming that there's a gunman.
Yeah, because she's in a crowded, like, auditorium.
Yeah, so she is able to get the president out of there by herself. Which
there's one other guy that comes with her down the hallway.
Well, that's true, but I mean that's not how Secret Service would have worked at all. And they get her. It's a self-driving cab.
Yeah. But Dana hacked it.
Which may have been a little advanced for 2017.
Yes.
So we may have had that as like a forward, futuristic type thing.
I don't know. When did they start testing stuff like that?
I don't know if it would have been that long ago.
I don't know. But I just remember reading about like self-driving cars and stuff in
Boy's Life.
Boy's Life, yeah. But what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. This is the other plot point that I was talking about that I feel like is well set up. The taxi being a self-driving taxi.
Yeah.
Because that comes back into play later.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was very well set up, too.
So up on the ISS, everybody's running to the shuttles.
Yes.
Well,
sorry. First, though, we see there's tornadoes that have touched down in India, and Moscow is, like, melting.
Which is where I was talking about, and I don't know if this was on the podcast. It may have been earlier, but like
it was on the podcast.
The red beam coming down, just
like the Independence Day beam that blows up the White House.
Yeah, like targeting these different buildings to set them on fire.
That's another thing that this reminded me of with the laser stuff is Independence Day.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one forever either. Maybe we should do an alien month.
Yeah.
So anyway, Jake decides he's going to stay behind on the ISS. And because somebody has to
input the kill codes.
So his plan is he needs to shut down the system completely.
Reboot it. Yeah.
And it will clear out the virus. But somebody has to stay on the ISS to enter the kill codes, which it's like you said earlier, the whole kill code entering thing, like if it's fingerprints and eyes, I don't know, that whole thing just...
Yeah, he, like, transfers it onto, like, his hollow deck or whatever it's called, and then puts it in, and it's like, I don't know, how does that work? Like... And I know that's probably nitpicky, but the movie does not earn my suspension of disbelief.
Right. And so we see Jake talking to Oot, and we think she leaves.
Yeah.
We think she leaves. So we think Jake is up there all by himself, and of course... parts of the... So it's like I don't know if it's like a 5-step or 5... whatever. However many they don't call them steps, stages of the ISS blowing up.
Yeah.
So like it starts on this end and then this end and then as it
Well,
kind of just goes like toward the middle. And I kind of got the impression like the outer parts were kind of what he had added on, and so like we're getting back to the original ISS. Well, it's just kind of what I had in my mind.
And one of the guys is like, well, why would you build a self-destruct into the ISS? And he's like, in case it ever crashed to Earth. That also did not feel right to me.
I think that has more to do with it catching on fire in the atmosphere. Like, if you self-destructed, it would be in pieces rather than...
Yeah, and I understand that. But that just felt so dumb.
I know.
Like, I would have rather than...
So anyway...
I would have rather than not say anything about why do you have a self-destruct. Because then that just made me think about it.
And why was there no way to end the self-destruct?
Yeah.
Like, that was stupid of me, too.
Well, that's because Duncan put a virus on there that only he could crack. But Dana can hack a driverless car from halfway across the country.
Right, right. So anyway, Jake's up there by himself, and they've got the president, and Deckham gets in a car and is chasing the president. Yes. And they're telling the president everything that's going on.
And this car chase is pretty cool. It's not my favorite, but it's... I don't think it's nearly as good as the Hong Kong, like him escaping the pipelines and stuff, but I thought it was decent.
So here's my problem with it, like, and not the car chase itself, but how did he... Okay, so he obviously wanted this horrible storm to hit Orlando. So did he time these things? Like, because obviously the president left the convention earlier than he had planned on because of the gun threat.
They say...
How did they, like...
When they're in the car, Max and whoever talk about it, and Max says, yeah, it's so hard to pin down the president's schedule because it's changing all the time. This is the only place he knew you were going to be.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, as soon as they get outside, the storm kind of starts to hit. The lightning.
The storm was already hitting before they got outside.
Okay.
Yes.
That was my question.
Yeah.
Because it seemed really convenient.
And I don't know how precise the satellites are. Because, like, if he knows that the president is speaking at this time, he could set it. Like, I don't know if he could set it to be at that time exactly or how it would work.
Right, and that's what I was saying. Like, is it just...
But I think the implication is he used the diagram from, like, Chang, like the simulation from Chang, and he found one that it was, like, it would cause Orlando to get a lightning storm at the exact time that the president was there or whatever.
That makes sense.
Because they talk about how many simulations there are, and, like, even whenever they filter it to just ones, which never really comes back.
No.
They filter it to ones that start in Afghanistan and then move to Hong Kong, and even then they say there's, like, over 1,000 instances.
That put me back in the mind of Day After Tomorrow with him doing all these weather modeling and stuff, like... But they actually made use of them in Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah, in this it just feels like they're kind of shoehorned in to be like, oh cool, look, we have science, and to add a body, add a body to the kill count.
Right.
Because, like, really, if Chang was not in this movie, I don't think anything would change, other than they would not know for sure that Hong Kong was a satellite attack, except for Jake already figured that out and pulled the satellite in from it.
Yeah.
And the logs were wiped, so obviously something happened.
Yeah.
So, like,
But I don't think Jake knew... I think at the beginning they just thought it was a malfunction. Like, I don't think they knew.
I know, but I think as soon as Jake saw I think Jake would have figured it out.
I do too. I agree. I'm just saying I think...
I like the Hong Kong scene and everything, and I think that was good in there, but Chang could have been taken out of this movie, and I don't think anything would have changed. Even, like, the Project Zeus thing, the Project Zeus was just his simulations.
You got me. I don't
Which, that's another thing. If Chang is in Hong Kong, why is it Project Zeus in America? Because that was his simulations, wasn't it? Because that's what they get whenever they use her codes.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of this movie that did not make a whole lot of sense. Let's just get through it.
We have this car chase scene.
Yes.
It really is kind of a cool car chase scene.
I will say the part where she flips around and she's driving backwards and she's shooting at them, she's not looking behind her.
That's exactly what I thought. Exactly my thought. It's like,
and it's not like she's driving in a big open field. There's, like, pillars. She's, like, under...
It's like under a bridge, it looks like.
Yeah, like an overpass.
Yeah. So I thought the same thing too, which it was a cool scene. I
Yeah,
mean, her driving
but
like that was neat.
but
But
even like in the John Wick movies, which are not like, I mean, they're not like super realistic because you cannot get like shot that many times and keep going and stuff like that. Like those are not realistic movies, but they earn their suspension of disbelief. But even in that movie, when he's backing up and stuff, he's looking over his shoulder.
right,
Like he,
and she didn't even tell like Max like, "Hey, look out behind us." You
yeah,
know,
yeah, she just goes
you
and
got
she
the
goes
president.
perfectly
You
straight.
got the president in the car. You might want to have somebody looking out the back window.
Unless she like set it to autopilot because it's a self-driving taxi, but they don't say that or imply that in any way. That was just something I just now thought of.
I didn't think about that either. I don't
But
know.
even then, I don't think I don't even know if it's driving on an actual roadway. I feel like it's driving through like
I
a.
don't think so.
Yeah. I don't
think
know.
so.
I don't know. Maybe Dana was driving it remotely the whole time.
There you go. Maybe she was the automatic car.
So anyway, that happens, and so yeah, so Jake stays on the ISS, and we see a flood start to happen in Dubai. And I also had an issue with this because the flood happens, and like spoiler, but later whenever the flood is like stops, the building is still leaning. How are you gonna get out of there? And also, it's so structurally unsound that I don't think it would keep standing. Because sometimes with stuff like that, when the water's there, it'll like ruin the foundations, but the water will be around it in such a way that it keeps it up. So when the water goes, it
I
collapses.
thought the same thing.
Like they're acting all relieved, and I'm like, how are you getting out of there?
Right, right.
And another thing that I was thinking about, I don't know how far inland is Dubai? Do you know?
You know I don't know geography.
Yeah, I don't either. But because I was wondering, like, if there's all that wave coming, why are there not like ships or anything being carried through? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like stuff would have got picked up on the way.
I mean, it could be a beach town where they don't have boats. Like,
I feel like if it's coming out of the ocean, though, stuff would have came with it.
But I mean, like, if you look at Florida, I mean, not everywhere on there is going to have boats.
Yeah.
So certain beaches you may not. I don't know.
That was a big wave, though.
It was. And I feel like that's something they ripped off from Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that and there's the village that freezes, and where else is it that freezes?
The ice, the Tokyo, or is it a Tokyo? Oh,
Tokyo has hail, but there's somewhere else that freezes, and it's like, it's Rio. Rio's freezing, and it's exactly like in Day After Tomorrow, where it's moving in and freezing everyone.
Yeah. So.
So this is the point where Jake's like trying to get through, and he finds out that Oot stayed too, and was just hiding from him the whole time.
This is so stupid. Like, okay, let's go back to the car chase. Let's finish that scene, and then we'll talk about Jake. So, she ends up shooting and killing the guy driving the car.
Yeah.
Which she also shot Deckham. She also shot the side of the car he was on. Like, she pointed her gun at him, but
he ducks down behind the.
Okay.
I will give him that. He ducks down below the dashboard.
So he pushes the guy out of the car and takes off after him, and I don't know. His car ends up getting crashed.
Is Deckham in that car?
Yeah.
Okay. Because when's the car that crashes and then gets hit by lightning? Was that before? There's a car that rolls and it's on its head, and then he's like making eye contact with him, and then his car gets hit by lightning and explodes.
That's not Deckham.
Okay. I didn't think it was Deckham. I'm saying, when does that happen?
Doesn't she push Deckham off the bridge or something? Like his car gets flipped over and they.
That's what I'm talking about. But then the car gets hit by lightning and kills the driver. So I don't think Deckham's in that car. I think Deckham was in a different car. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we get to a scene where all these policemen show up to arrest Deckham.
Yeah, because Deckham was pulled ahead in a car, and he pulled out an RPG out of the trunk of his car, which I don't know how safe that would be, to just carry like a loaded RPG in the back of your car, and blows up the self-driving taxi, and then Sarah appears behind him and puts a gun to his head. How did they catch up to him? Did they walk up? It was completely empty around him. How did they sneak up on him?
I have no idea. I have a lot of issues with this scene because all these policemen finally show up, and they have Deckham, and they're going to arrest him. He says something to the president. The president's like, "Let him go," and I'm like, "Are you freaking stupid?" Like, and the whole point of letting him go was
so that Max could sock him in the face.
Yeah, punch him and said something else. That's what his brother would have done.
Because earlier in the movie, at the very first Senate hearing, at the very beginning of the movie, they said that he punched a higher up in the face.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, that's because he didn't know something something held it hard, so I saved his life.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did not like the characters in the movie. They were not likable.
I did not either. And so this is when, after he punches him, the president looks at Sarah and's like, marry that guy or
Yeah.
something. So then for the rest of the movie, she's calling him, this is my fiance.
Yeah.
I'm like, he didn't ask you. You're just assuming.
Yeah.
Just because the president said it doesn't mean it has to happen.
Um,
So now I'll let you talk about Jake.
yeah, so he tries to go one way and it's blocked off, so then Oot appears out of nowhere
So
and
another
puts in the
thing-
code, and it's like, you
well,
were going to the wrong room.
Yeah, earlier they were going to go somewhere and he was at the wrong door.
He
And
went
so
to
then
like
he
a
did-
closet instead of the.
Yeah, and so then he does it again at this point.
Yeah.
But she just comes in her spacesuit and is like, you need a hand?
And
I'm
I
like,
don't know. I don't know if that's supposed to imply that the ship has changed since he built it, or if it's supposed to imply that he doesn't remember because it's been so long since he's been up there.
I got the impression that it was because he forgot. Like,
That's what I thought too, because she says, I live here.
Yeah.
But I think it would have made more sense if they moved stuff around.
See,
because
because the room they wanted to go in was like a big
server
electrical
room,
room,
yeah.
and I don't think they would have moved that.
yeah, it was like their server backup. But I just mean, like, it makes him seem kind of stupid.
There's a lot in this movie
Yeah,
that make
I
everybody
agree,
seem
yeah.
stupid.
But he's supposed to be like the genius. He's supposed to be like the main guy from Day After Tomorrow, and he makes a bunch of stupid decisions.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's like I see people talk about it a lot when they're talking about people that write Riddler in DC Comics. Stupid people, or like people that are not geniuses, cannot write genius characters without
Right.
looking dumb.
Right.
And I feel like maybe that's the case here.
Yeah.
They tried to write a genius character, and he just comes off as an arrogant jerk that has no idea what he's doing.
Right. So,
Because really, what?
where did she come from? Was she just like, because obviously we just talked about all these
Yeah.
different parts of the ship are
Yeah.
blowing up. So she just hid from him for the last hour of movie time.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the last hour on the ship, like until the very last minute when he needs her help. So they go into the server room.
And like their relationship was just so weird because I could not figure out what the vibe was supposed to be.
I have no idea.
Like at first I thought they were gonna try to push romance angle.
I did too.
And I'm kinda glad they didn't, because they did not have chemistry at
No.
all. But again, they didn't feel like friends or anything. It did not feel like she had any reason to stay behind.
No. Except for it was, I think she looked at it as like her home and her, like it was her shit. Like,
Yeah, and it's
not
like
that it was
Captain
just
going
shit,
down
but-
with this ship.
right,
Yeah.
I think that was more of it.
I kinda get that, but at the same time, it just...
And again, she didn't have to be there because what did she do other than get him in the door? She stood
Yeah.
up to the screen and told him when all the satellites were off.
Yeah,
So he could reboot the system, which
Yeah.
he does. He does get that done.
yeah. So
and
then...
this is when we find out that the reset or the kill codes are not going to stop.
Yeah, when
thing
Max
from
finds
blowing
this
up.
out.
Yeah.
Well, I think they found out a little bit earlier whenever he called, before he left to do all this, right?
Maybe.
Because he has a call in that room, and then stuff starts sparking behind him
Yeah.
right when the call ends, which I thought was like, oh, how convenient that as soon as
Right.
the call ends, everything starts going wrong.
Right.
Um,
And again, there's such a disparity in the technology in this movie.
yeah,
Like, when we're saying like they're talking to each other, it's like Star Trek type vibe.
like hologram stuff.
yeah.
Not really. It's like a holographic screen. Like it's not like 3D
their
holograms
their handheld thing, but
blown up.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then we're still using laptops from 2017.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh.
I mean,
Oh wait, never mind. That's not this movie. I was thinking of something that. Anyway, they end up riding inside of a satellite to escape the exploding ISS. Which, first of all, I don't think they got away quick enough that they would have been out of explosion
I
range.
didn't think so either.
And second of all, they should have given us some inkling earlier in the movie, in some way, some kind of foreshadowing that two people could fit inside one of the satellites.
See, and I didn't understand that either. Like, I thought the same thing. Like, even
Like when
one person. Like, I didn't know anybody could
Yeah,
even get in this.
I didn't know they were hollow inside.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they should have clarified that. Like they bring two on the ship to look at. At one of those times, have someone, like, get inside or do something, or, like, any kind of way to show that people can fit
Well,
inside.
and if you could get inside of it, why wouldn't the thing?
Because he
like-
literally says, ever heard of a Hail Mary? Well, does it feel like a Hail Mary play? It feels like a Deus Ex Machina, where you're just writing something in so it fixes the situation they're in.
Well, like when the guy goes and looks at the at the beginning when he takes the information off the computer, we could have seen the computer inside,
Yeah.
which would have made sense. I
Yeah.
mean, if so, say maybe they did have to send somebody out in one of the satellites for some
What
ungodly reason.
you're saying? Whenever he brings the thing out, have him crawl inside that hole that's in the satellite and come out with that piece.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
yeah,
Like, I mean, I don't know. That whole part was because I'm like, first of all, why would anybody want to be inside of one of those?
Yeah.
Because if you're just sending them into, I don't
orbit.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just didn't make sense.
And that was my thing too. That I mean, this it's fine. I don't know if they necessarily need to expand like play this all out. But is the implication that the whole net just like rotates with the Earth? Because it's not like it's not like they sit in the same spot because they call them like the Afghanistan satellite and stuff. So do they orbit with the Earth? Is that supposed to be what?
I would assume so.
Because the stuff that's orbiting the Earth move at the same pace that the Earth is spinning.
No.
I didn't think so. So how does that... Anyway, that doesn't matter. I'm being nitpicky, but just, like, stuff like that, it's like...
But see, that's a good point, though, because when they send the satellite out, like, when they send out or start sending out replacements, they say it's going to the same coordinates.
Yeah.
Like, it's programmed to go to the same coordinates, and wouldn't you think coordinates would be the same place all the time?
Yes, it would be. Yeah, that makes no sense. I don't know. Let's get through the movie. So anyway, they ride in it, and then they get picked up by the shuttle from the ISS.
They're doing
SOS with a light.
And I'm like, okay, so the satellite that's going out into space with nobody on it just happens to have a light on it that we can blink ourselves. And I also thought it was kind of stupid that the shuttle had the thing to come out and hook on, which maybe that
I was about to say that.
I will give him that one because if they have to send one out to work on one or
well, and I do think because some that like to pick up moon rocks and stuff, like maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. How did they safely cross from inside the satellite to in the ship? Like, I don't think that'd be easy to finagle.
Well,
they were still in their spacesuits, but I don't know.
But how are you going to open the shuttle if the people in there don't have spacesuits?
That's what I mean.
So anyway, then it skips to 6 months later, and we've got
yes.
Hannah and Max and Jake sitting on a dock fishing, and the guys decide fishing sucks.
Yeah. So they walk away, and Hannah is sitting there kind of laughing about it, and then we get a final narration from her, and I didn't even write down what she said because I don't care.
I don't know.
And more random crap. Something about human perseverance or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This movie sucked. It was fun to talk about, but it was such a slog to watch.
That's exactly the word I was getting ready to ask you what you said. Like, it was just... I don't like movies that feel like it's a chore to sit down and watch.
No.
And this was a chore to sit.
Yeah.
Like, there was no... Like, I know you like Dana, and I like Dana too, but she wasn't in it enough to be the comic relief.
No.
And the movie couldn't figure out, are we sci-fi, are we action, are we...
And I will say...
Tuesday, like, what are we?
I can tell you right now that I'm sure there's a lot of people that like movies that would not like Dana. Because she is that kind of quippy archetype that's like kind of a white hat hacker, like that kind of thing. And that's an archetype you see a lot, and so people kind of get annoyed with it because it's kind of generic. But those characters tend to be my favorite because they're usually fun. And I feel like a lot of times with stuff, the comic relief takes away from the movie.
Yeah.
The comic relief feels out of place and like it doesn't really have anything to do with the movie. And I feel like those characters usually still fit within the framework of the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like...
I think it's a trope for a reason.
I think Dana stood out in this movie so much because she was about the only likable character in the whole movie.
And she was a good actress.
Yeah.
Not that everyone in this movie was necessarily a bad... It felt like so many people were just shoehorning it in for this movie.
Yeah.
Like, they did not care. They were just there for a paycheck.
Okay, here's a movie, let's do it. Like,
yeah.
I just...
Yeah. I was really surprised about how bad... Not that he was necessarily even, like, bad, but just, like, how uninteresting Gerard Butler was.
You could tell he was uninterested in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, just... No emotion, even, like, with his daughter and all of that.
Yeah.
There was no...
And again, I think you could have upped the stakes by, like, having his daughter in peril. And that's the reason he's so intent on staying there.
Oh, and another thing I thought was a parallel of Day After Tomorrow was when Dad in Day After Tomorrow was supposed to take son to the airport for the or the school.
Yes.
that happens in this movie too. She's
Yeah.
like, I already got an Uber or whatever it was she
Yeah.
said. And he's like, no, I'll take you.
Yeah,
Like,
that feels exactly like it, because
yeah.
he's like, oh, I already got a taxi. I didn't even think about that, yeah.
I mean, there's
Again,
just so many. Like, I think if you could probably pick out almost scene for scene of this movie being a different movie.
yeah. I genuinely wonder if you could go through, like, all the movies we talked about and cut out those scenes and put them together, and it would seem like this movie.
Yeah, I think so. I really do. Probably be a better movie.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing with, like, being satirical or, parodying or homaging to stuff. But when that's what your entire movie is, and the stuff that isn't that is just, like, boring and uncaptivating and unoriginal and not well thought through, your movie's gonna suck.
I do have to say this, though. I want to see the original one now. Like, if
Yeah.
this is the remake that was better, like,
I
I want to see the original one.
I want to watch the movie of them building the Dutch boy that they talk about from the beginning.
Yeah.
That should have been the movie.
I agree.
With all the weather stuff, and it's trying to be a natural disaster movie, espionage, all that stuff. The espionage felt so out of place to me.
Yeah.
Especially with, like, it did not feel like the espionage plot had room to breathe. Because, like, it's like, oh, we have to overcome this difficulty. Well, we'll just ask our Secret Service friend to let us in. Oh, we'll just ask our Secret Service friend. Like, any stopping or obstacle that came up in their way, they have a Secret Service person. Right. Yeah. And so, like, it feels like they were trying to do too many kinds of movies at the same time. A natural movie, a natural disaster movie, a family drama, like, all this crap. And it's like, you gotta pick a few lanes.
I think if we would have, I think if it would have been more of a sci-fi space movie and focused on Gerard Butler's character and that team, and then everything Max had going on was kind of behind the scenes. Not really behind the scenes, but kind of like not an afterthought either. But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like we talked about, like
a B
him
plot.
communing. There you go.
They tried to have too many plots be A plots.
Or even the opposite way, where we focus on Max on Earth doing all this stuff with Jake kind of in the background. Even that would have been like, you know, focus on Max when the ISS is going to blow up, and we don't know what's going to happen, and like have that kind of as a back plot. Then,
and I think that's a big thing about, like, the Max and Jake video calls, is I don't really think we ever learned anything new from them. It was just relaying information we had already seen because we follow both characters.
Yeah.
So if you cut one of those characters down to where it's just them telling, oh, this is what happened, it would have been a better streamlined movie.
I think so too. I was very disappointed because I was so excited to see Gerard Butler movie. I like.
And if you said that they did, like, reshoots and it was like 50, maybe that's why everyone was phoned it in.
I don't know.
They may have just been exhausted and been like, I already did this. I don't care.
I don't know.
I will say, I don't think that, like, I was picking on, like, the Hannah character earlier about how, like, she's that archetype I don't like. The actress was good. She was a good child actor. Yeah. It's just the character she had did not feel like a kid. And I know she's supposed to be 13, so they can be a little bit more articulate about stuff, but just, she was so quippy.
This movie had a $120 million budget.
That's crazy. And really, in all honesty, I think Day After Tomorrow had a better graphics.
I do too.
And when did Day After Tomorrow come out? 2004? So this is 13 years later?
Yeah.
That's...
Day After Tomorrow had a $125 million budget. So right about the same budgets.
I do not think in good conscience I could recommend this movie.
No.
And I don't think... It's not like a bad movie. It's not going to be like... I don't think I would even put it in, like, the worst... Like, the bottom 10 of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's... I won't ever remember it. It's such a forgettable movie.
Yeah, I don't think I will.
If you ask me in 3 weeks if I watch Geostorm, no idea what you're talking about. Like, it's... I don't think I'm going to remember anything from it.
Yeah,
and
I don't think I would either.
Sometimes I take notes on movies. Sometimes I don't. It depends on if I think I'm going to remember the movie well or not. Which is usually why I struggle so much with character names. But in this case, I genuinely think if I had not taken notes, I would not remember half of what happened.
I think we could have got through, like, between the two of us, we could have got through the basic plot. I mean, we probably would have lost some of the little
that's what I mean.
Plots, but, I mean, I wouldn't have picked this one, regardless if it, with what it was based on. I wouldn't have picked this one for our storms if I had known.
I didn't know it was going to be so focused on... I genuinely had no idea what it was about.
Right.
It was in a collection I had that was 2 natural disaster movies,
Yeah,
and it
and
was
see,
this and Into the
I
Storm.
don't consider it a natural
No,
disaster movie at all.
no.
I
It
think
it
if I think if we would have had the natural disasters, then them building
yeah.
the Dutch boy, and then all of this could have been condensed down into like the last half hour.
Yes.
We could have had a completely different movie that we would probably both
Well,
love.
I agree, and I think this movie, it was a little bit of a thriller, it was a little bit of a mystery, it was a little bit of like natural disaster, kind of like horror-ish, and it was a little bit like a drama, and it was a little bit like everything. Like espionage action, like in I think you're fine to have elements of those in whatever movie you're making. There's horror elements in Harry Potter with like the Dementors and stuff like that. There's comedy elements in Harry Potter. There's drama elements in Harry Potter. But like it's you
But
gotta balance it well.
right, and
And there's a
like Harry Potter, since you're using that as an example, it knows what it's supposed to be.
yes, yeah,
Like it is a story-driven movie. Like
yeah,
this is
and
the story we're trying to tell, and this
yes,
one felt like we don't know what story we're trying to tell.
and
We're
like you
just gonna
said,
make it work however we can get to the end.
yeah, and like you said, I would like to see what the original script was if this is the reshoot. Like,
right.
I will say one thing. This is like the only praise I can give it. A lot of the times when I buy those cheap DVD collections, they won't have subtitles, and I like to watch movies with subtitles on. This collection did. That's the one thing I'll give it.
Yeah. And we did say, I mean, like you talked about
There were good
the
parts.
China scene.
Yes.
Tokyo. That's Japan. The
Hong
Japan.
Kong.
Oh, it was Hong Kong.
It was Hong Kong. Because the hail was Tokyo.
Okay.
Because they just stole that from Day After Tomorrow.
I liked the Afghanistan scene because I thought that was really cool. The way
I agree.
people were, which again, Day After Tomorrow did the same thing. People frozen where they were doing what they were doing. Just, I liked that. But then you've got scenes like the Moscow thing with the red laser that
Yes.
just drove me crazy.
Well, and there have been times before where I'm on YouTube and I see a clip from like a TV show or a movie or something, and it makes me want to watch it, so I go watch it, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad I watched that because it's really good. There's a few I've done where I've seen clips from stuff and I go watch it, and I was like, that's like the best scene in the whole thing. I see why they posted that because like that's the only redeeming scene in this entire thing. I could see someone just posting that Hong Kong clip and people thinking like, oh, this is gonna be a great movie, and then you watch it and it's such a
They do that a lot with horror movies when they make previews. They show you all the
Yeah,
best parts in the
yeah,
previews.
yeah.
I get mad at that. So
well, like, you know how I really like House now. I started watching that because I kept seeing clips of it on like YouTube. Where like there's a movie I watched. I don't remember, but it's just it's stuff like that, and it's like I feel I could see someone reposting that scene and me being like, oh, this looks like a really good movie, and then I go to watch it and it's
what it is.
yeah.
So
Like I know another scene that gets posted a lot is the church scene from Kingsman, which that whole movie is really good, but like
that one is phenomenal.
but that scene is like kind of
yeah,
probably the most iconic scene from the movie.
yeah.
And so, like, I could see that get a lot of people into it. So I could see, like, the Hong Kong scene could get people to watch it, but
Right.
then there's not much there to watch.
So consensus between us is don't waste your time.
Yeah.
I mean, look it up on YouTube if you want to see the two scenes that are cool with the
Yeah,
weather
yeah.
phenomenon. But other than that, don't waste your time.
Yeah. And genuinely, like you said, it's almost 2 hours long. It's like an hour 50, so it's not like super long. But I feel like this could have been an hour and a half movie.
Yeah.
I feel like
I think an hour and 50 minutes, if they would have plotted it the right way, like
I
we were
agree.
talking about, I would
I
have
agree.
probably not been long enough. We would have been like, oh my gosh, we need
Yeah.
more.
But I think with what we had, if you had cut out some of the fluffier scenes and streamlined it a little bit more, maybe edited it to where it's not so flippy flappy back and forth between so many different plot points going on, I feel like it could have been better.
Yeah, I do too. I agree.
If you didn't want to reshoot again for $15 million,
Right.
like just use what you had, I feel like you could have done it better.
Yeah. So if you've seen this one, let us know in the comments. If you haven't
Yes.
seen this one, give us a thank you for not for telling you not to watch it.
I think this is the first movie we've said on the podcast genuinely do not go watch.
I think so.
I think about every other one
think
we've
so.
said it's worth a watch one time or
Well,
put it
the
on the
Leprechaun
background.
movies that we decided not to do were
Yeah, but I don't. We didn't even really talk about those, so I
Yeah,
don't know if
that's
that
true.
counts.
That's
And I think mostly because those two movies have a lot to do with like weed jokes and stuff like that. I think those movies are popular in like people that get high and watch movies. I feel like it's popular in that kind of community. Yeah,
So.
yeah.
All right,
Like
guys.
my older sister would love it.
All right, guys. Well, next week we are doing Into the Storm, so we will see you then.
Yes.